Hi, this is Tara again for another Monday. Looking forward to another really great interview today. And I have my friend JP here, and this is going to be kind of a different interview because there are some people that very much value their anonymity. And so we are going to respect JP's anonymity, but I'm super excited to have you here. Thank you for being here with us.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. And JP, what I'm doing here is
Mhm.
I'm introducing my business. There are so many people out there that are struggling with addiction and that don't know where to turn. They feel a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment, lost, hopelessness. And my goal here is to let those people know, whether it is the person struggling or the family members or friends that are watching their loved ones struggle, know that there is help out there.
Absolutely.
And my business is Love Prevails, and with Love Prevails, we offer intervention support services. So if you need somebody to come in, organize an intervention, and get that loved one off to treatment, that's where somebody like me comes in.
Okay.
I'm also offering support services. So if you prefer to go a different route rather than treatment, or let's say you're out of treatment and you want to just get life back on track again, that's where my services are vital. And so I appreciate you being here and being a part of this. Now, before we turned on the video, we were talking about how important it is to tell our stories. And I have a lot of insecurities about this because I'm being super vulnerable in these videos, which is so out of character for me. I prefer to sit in silence and to let you feel like my life is perfect. And I've had people come into my home before, and they'll look at my home, and I have a nice home. I have a very clean home, well put together home. And I had somebody tell me one time that that you got your shit together. And the first thing that went into my mind when this person said that to me was, this is a facade.
Okay.
You don't know what's going on. And I actually believe I told him at the time, this does not indicate having your shit together. This is just a home and how I live, but you don't know what's going on inside me.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that conversation. And why is it so important to tell our stories?
Kind of like we were talking before. The story is where we can find commonalities. You know, I know for me, I spent so much time looking for the differences, so that I could feel like I was this unique individual, and nobody knew what life was like but me. Nobody ever experienced the life that I lived, and so it kept me away from what my eventual solution was going to be. And not unlike a lot of folks, once I finally did sit my butt down and listen, not just with my ears, but listen from here, I started hearing the similarities. And the similarities came in all kinds of different packages.
Yeah.
And hearing that similarity allowed me to begin to believe that perhaps there's hope for me if I'm willing to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. I When I first started this journey, I didn't feel like you guys were way different than me.
Yeah.
Your stories didn't match my story, and I do have a very different story than a lot of people. But the core of what's going on, it's very similar.
Yeah, we've all got our little distinctive differences, either based on physicality, based on, you know, how we talk or those kinds of things. But for us, there's some basic commonalities that when a person says a certain thing, there's this little bell that goes off that goes, oh, damn. And it's kind of like, I wanna, but I'm afraid to. And then I hear some more, and it's like, yeah. Let me see what else they've got.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, are you okay if I ask you why you chose to maintain your anonymity? And if you don't want me asking that question, then and I'm perfectly fine with you telling me as well.
Because I have a face for radio.
Okay. So you're the second radio person. Oh, a face for radio. So you're the second person that I've interviewed that's been on the radio, and I know that you are friends with Bill as well.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing guy. Mm-hmm. And so feel free to give me pointers. I think you already did, and I'm going to use those in the future. So a lot of what we do on these videos, JP, is we talk about what brought us into sobriety and why we stay. Can you tell us a little bit about what brought you here and why you stay?
I got in trouble. That was the thing that opened the door for me to get here. Not unlike a lot of people,
right?
You know, started drinking it, seriously in high school, and rode that train through college and early marriage, and got into enough trouble that I was presented with an ultimatum that I needed to stop. And the last time I drank and did any kind of drugs, I was in a car accident, and a bell went off. That I really did need to do this, because I played around, going to rehab and that kind of stuff, but it didn't stick.
Right. And a lot of people experience that where they may go once or twice, 3 times.
Right.
I've heard of people going many, many times.
Yeah.
And until you are ready, nothing's going to stick. You've got to want it.
Yeah.
And some people it's one and done. Some people it's not. And we talked about on another video, we were talking about this, and I don't advocate going back over and over and over. Because this disease will kill you.
Right.
But sometimes it does take that for it to stick.
Right. It does.
And different people, when you say you got in trouble, trouble looks different for different people.
Yeah.
We've heard stories about being in prison. We've heard stories about DUIs. Sometimes trouble is, it doesn't have to be that severe,
right,
to admit that there's a problem.
Right.
And so I like to also mention that, because there are people who they're not experiencing those things.
Right. Right.
But their trouble looks different. Like mine was in my home, and I wasn't out. I should have had a DUI. I came real close one time. By the grace of God, I didn't get that.
Right.
But my serious trouble came with jobs. My serious trouble came with my girls. But that's not the case for everybody.
Right. Right. Mine was a combination of all of the above. I did get the DUI. And that was especially important because I was a marketing person and I had a multi-state territory, and so I needed to drive to get to my clients. I lost my license behind that, which threatened my income. Somehow, things worked out so that for whatever reason, the judge gave me a license that allowed me to drive for work, but I couldn't drive outside of that.
Wow.
So I got a blessing there. I had problems in the home. I was faced with losing the person who I think was the last person who gave a damn whether I lived or not in this process.
Right.
Didn't go to prison, but having to have neighbors come bail me out of jail.
Mm.
Having to have loved ones come bail me out of jail. And so trouble, yeah, I was in trouble. I don't know that whether or not the trouble was worse before I sobered up or after.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I know for me, I almost feel like some of my trouble was worse after I sobered
Absolutely.
up.
Absolutely.
I made some of the worst decisions
Absolutely.
in my sobriety than I ever made when I was in my addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So it really made me question, am I really an alcoholic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about it. There can be a common belief that if I get sober, everything's good.
Yeah.
Right? And, don't get me wrong, it's when we get sober, that is a good thing. However, sometimes we don't realize just how important the piece after sobriety is.
Mm-hmm.
And getting sober is important. It lets people see that, there is some willingness to at least start doing the thing that is best for us, and that is not to drink or not to do drugs or not to drink and do drugs. However, that other piece, the work that comes after that, is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, that's such a good point, because I'm actually working with somebody right now who was telling me not too long ago that um, I wish people could see the changes I'm making. I wish, I'm trying to get everything squared away with me, and they're not coming along on this ride with me. And I asked them, I said, well, how long have you been sober? About 30, a little over 30 days. I'm like, well, how long did it take to get the relationships in this place where they're at? Long time. I said, so you've got to not worry about what they're doing. They're on their own journey, and they got to figure that out.
Yeah.
And you've got to let all that go and just focus on you, because it can take years sometimes for those relationships to come around, if they ever do.
If they ever do.
And
Absolutely.
I said, so you can't worry about that. You've spent a lot of years getting, get the relationships where they're at. 30 days is not enough time to fix all that.
Hell no. I call it training. We've trained people for how many years to act a certain way depending on our state of being.
Yes.
Okay. And through that training, people know the buttons to push to keep us from being wackos. And so it takes us, in some cases, longer to get them untrained to believe that the person that they see now actually is someone that's going to be the same person 60 days from now, 90 days from now. Um, we talk about, I talk about this a lot, and people are probably so tired of hearing me talk about it, but this word called deportment. Deportment. And if you're in our program, go look it up. It's in the book. The word is deportment. And one of the definitions of deportment is our behavior. Mm-hmm. Right? I can tell you all the things that I think you want to hear to really believe that I'm a good person now. What is my behavior exhibiting?
Right.
I could be telling you this and doing that.
Yeah.
And so it's really important. And I say this because I don't say it just because it's a cute word to you. I think it's a great word. I don't say it because it's a cute word to throw out here in an interview kind of situation. I say it because I've lived that. Mm-hmm. You ask my wife right now what the first 10 years of my sobriety was like, and she'll tell you it was the worst 10 years that she has spent in her life.
Yeah.
You ask my kids. And I was sober, right? Mm-hmm. Which means nothing. All it means is that I wasn't taking a drink. To me, recovery means I'm doing the things that I need to do to make sure that my behavior reflects the message that I want them to receive. Right. I didn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
But how's that being backed up?
Right.
And so that's why I use that word, because it makes a big difference.
Yeah. If you truly have it, you don't have to tell people.
No, it
you
shouts.
Live it. You live it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I hear people,
and that's in all aspects of life.
Absolutely. I hear people talk all the time. I shouldn't say it like, I hear people from time to time say, "Oh, I hope you got something out of that." Well, is that important? It's not really that important.
And it's not for you to tell me I need to get something out of it, unless you're trying to tell me something.
Like come over and pat me on the back and say I got something out of it. I mean, what's that all about?
Yeah.
In fact, on Sunday afternoon at a meeting, I was talking to a gentleman about that very fact. We don't need people to tell us that.
Because deep inside, you know what you need to get out of it, if anything.
I know what I need to get out there, and when I hear it, I'm glad I heard it. If it happens that I can say something to somebody, cool. If not, they don't need to hear
it. It sounds like somebody's trying to work your program for you.
Right. So, and it's just, that's one of the things that is so important as I look at how I'm supposed to live this thing is it's just another way of me being selfish.
Yeah.
I need to get your attention when I don't, So yeah, that 10 years, even I hated it.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure they'll probably never hear this, but I'm pretty sure that's why our 2 kids live in another state.
That's hard.
Because, I wasn't drinking, but I was a functioning idiot. Yeah. Trying to control every aspect of other people's lives.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Doesn't work.
Did not work.
I'm a firm believer in if your mental health is not in order, sobriety really means nothing. Because they're both equally as dangerous.
Well, it does. We do speak to not just the drinking, but the thinking as part of the process. Yeah. Of learning how to do functional relationships with people.
It takes time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, why do you stay? What makes you stay in sobriety?
Hmm. Wow. There are so many different reasons that I want to stay. Um, First and foremost, um, I'm living life. I can every day I get another opportunity to live life. The other reason I stay is I know what my purpose on the face of this earth is.
Doesn't that feel good?
Oh my God. Oh my God. And I know when I'm not doing it.
Right.
You know, being here in, recovery is an amazing experience. And you know it yourself.
Yeah.
People who are watching this, they know it themselves or want to find out about it. There's one issue that we don't talk about that much that comes with this.
Mm-hmm.
And that is we develop a conscience. And so when we're not doing what we're supposed to do, we hear about it
Yep.
from ourselves.
Yep. You're right.
Okay? When we don't make an amend that we know that we're supposed to make, no such thing as peace of mind.
No.
Doesn't exist. So back to answer your question, I get to live life today. I get to exercise what my purpose is. I get to make that living amend that people talk about all the time with family and friends and neighbors and other people in this program and strangers that I meet. I get to live life. And I don't need to take hostages now. See, back then I took hostages. I didn't have any friends. I had hostages. Didn't have any family. They were hostages. Okay, I don't need to do that now. And if somebody doesn't like me, it's okay. I might have, attitude for a while, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the end. And I know how to, when I put my mind to it and I'm willing, I know how to treat people.
Yeah.
And I know how to take being treated kindly without suspicion.
That's a big one too.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah.
somebody treats you with kindness, you think they're out. They want
They
something
want
from
something.
you. Yeah.
And the reason that I think that is because that's what I used to do, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I can't, what do you mean? No, get away from me.
Yeah. I know how to act to get what I want out of you.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just stay over there and I'll stay here.
It's challenge accepted.
Yeah, right? But those are just a few of the reasons. I really believe in that piece of third step prayer that talks about relieve me of the bondage of myself. I really, really believe in that. I really see that as something to aspire to.
Yeah.
You know.
I see that too because I for years I didn't realize I was in bondage to myself. I didn't realize it until I started really forgiving myself and forgiving God, or maybe the more appropriate was asking God to forgive me. Yeah, and um, and I'm kind of going through that right now with some things that I just feel like right now everything I can't get a break. I can't get a freaking break. I and I've been doing some spring cleaning. I've been doing a lot of different work for my business. I and I'm like hitting an exhaustion wall right now.
Okay.
And then on top of this, I get hit with an $11,000 special assessment fee,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even know about the insurance,
Mm-hmm.
and so that I'm going to have to pay out of pocket for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to run out the door yesterday, and I hear this crash in my pantry, and I walk in there, and one of the shelves falls, and I'm just like, I swear God hates me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get a break for nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I had to really, and then after that I went and toured a facility that took care of young girls with their babies,
Mm-hmm.
and these girls
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
are at the lowest I've
Yeah.
never been where these
Yeah.
girls
Yeah.
have been. And I was just like, man, it was really powerful, because I was just like, my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
every one of those girls would give anything
Mm-hmm.
to have my problems.
Oh, kidding me?
And I had to really take a step back and be like, my gosh. And I could see a lot of places where I could be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're never fully relieved from the bondage of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But in my situation, my higher power
Mm-hmm.
showed me how lucky I really am.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Yeah. I was talking to somebody the other day, actually somebody I'm doing the work with, and we got done finishing up part of the inventory, and got another piece to go to. And I gave them a homework assignment, and I said, I would like for you to begin noticing the miracles every day. Just start noticing the miracles in your life every day. And I said to him, would you like me to point one out to you? And he said, yeah, could you point one out to me? I said, okay. He didn't take a drink today. That's a miracle. When we think about where we've been and the things that we would do for a drink or for whatever our drug of choice was, not to be doing that because that became a working part of our lives, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. We dedicated our lives to whatever that was, and we would do anything to get it.
yeah.
And you think about today, I don't even think about it. Is that miraculous or what? Some people will say, no, it's not a miracle. For me, it is. Okay, because I know where I came from.
It didn't feel like a miracle when my sponsor was telling me that in the beginning.
No,
I'd always tell her
no,
that is not a miracle.
no.
But I can look back on it and I can see the changes in my life and in me,
Mm-hmm.
and realize
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
it was a miracle. I was
Mm-hmm.
completely a slave.
Think about this. If that was still going on now, you and I wouldn't be sitting here.
No.
Would not be sitting here. Nothing in common, right? So, yeah,
No, we'd
that's
be manipulating each other at best to
at best
get what we
to
wanted.
get what we wanted.
And it didn't matter what it wouldn't matter what
Yep.
it was.
Waiting for happy hour to hit if we could
Mm-hmm.
wait that long. If we hadn't already been doing it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I get to see that kind of stuff. I look for that on a daily basis. And I get to see that stuff as long as I'm looking. If I'm not looking and I'm preoccupied with myself, I don't see any of it. I don't see any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about, from time to time, I will remind myself or I'll talk to friends about this saying that I read one time that said, if you're bored, that means you've been thinking about yourself too long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Been spending too much time thinking about yourself. And that, think about it.
Yeah.
That can be very true. Like you, I have a good life. I have a good life. In a position where I don't have to work. I have done some part-time things to help me stay out of trouble, but it's not a requirement for me. Um, I have someone that I live with who is, I call this person an angel because I tell the story that um, this person believes in a God, and and this person was having a conversation with that God one day, and God said, "Do you really want to get to heaven?" And this person was saying, "Yes." Do you really want to get to heaven? And this person said, "Yes." Okay, I'm going to ask you one last time. You really want to get to heaven? Yes, I do. And God said, "Okay, I got a task for you. There's an idiot running around down there by the name of JP. If you can help this dude, you get a free pass." And that's what happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Sounds like a pretty special woman.
Incredibly, incredibly special, incredibly special. We've been together since 1977,
Wow. So she was with you through the whole thing.
with one small break where she got kind of fed up and said, "Out of here."
Right, right.
But yeah, since 77.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it is. And trust me, I didn't do a whole hell of a lot to keep it together.
Right. Wow.
So miracles happen.
Miracles happen.
Miracles happen every day.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That I know that that's going to help a lot of people, and that's the kind of stuff I love about doing these videos is, you get to know people on a level that you wouldn't know them otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're right, sharing your story is important
Yes.
because there's people that are going to watch your story and realize I'm doing that, and
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like me,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
they're gonna maybe that'll give them what they need to start reaching out and getting what the help so they can get where you're at some
Mm-hmm.
point.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that all of you enjoyed JP's interview today as much as I did. Super great guy, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know him over the last couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just have a lot of respect for you. I really, really
Oh,
do.
thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
Yeah,
And thanks for having me.
yeah.
I've really enjoyed this.
And if you're enjoying these videos, hopefully, we would love for you to keep watching them every Monday at 3:30. Please like, share, follow, comment. Love the feedback that I do get on them. If you or somebody you love is struggling with addiction, my information is attached to this video. Please reach out. You can reach out to me through Messenger. My phone number's on there. My email's on there. Love the opportunity to talk to you. Your best life is waiting for you. Connect with me and we are going to find it together. I hope you all enjoy your week, and we've got a lot more videos scheduled for the coming weeks, and this has been a lot of fun. This has been so much fun for me, and
Fun to smile, isn't
it is fun to smile.
it?
It feels good to smile.
Yeah, indeed. Yep.
All right, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and thank you.